こんにちは。このビデオでは、南海トラフ地震のリスクに焦点を当てています。最近の宮崎県での大地震が引き金となり、この地震の発生可能性が高まっていると警告されています。我社は、日本の地震多発地域での状況を解説し、準備の重要性を強調しています。日常生活への影響や、必要な備えについても説明されています。視聴者には、最新情報を確認し、適切な対策を講じるよう呼びかけています。
If you don't know, Japan is a country that has been pretty prone to natural disasters. I mean, just yesterday, as of me recording this video, we managed to get through one of the biggest typhoons that Japan has seen in the last 6 years or something. And now there is a massive scare going around about a catastrophically huge earthquake that is going to hit the west coast of Japan anytime soon now. And look, granted, Japan has done a pretty good job of getting through these natural disasters. I mean, we had the giant 2011 earthquake that hit the north of Japan over 10 years ago now. Oh my god, that'll be 13 years ago as of this day. And every single year there seems to be some kind of earthquake scare. But the big scare that is happening in the country right now is this thing called the南海Trough earthquake. So there's probably a bunch of people who are hearing about this word, and maybe some people who don't live in Japan or know nothing that's going on in Japan who's like, what is this南海Trough earthquake? Should I be worried about it? Like, what's gonna happen? So for all of you guys who watch my videos who are in Japan right now or live in Japan, I wanted to make a quick video just talking about it and to, I guess, let the rest of the world know as well exactly what the南海Trough earthquake is and why it is such a massive point of discussion in Japan right now. So Nikkei Asia has done an article here called Japan's南海Trough Earthquake Advisory, 5 Things to Know. Country reacts with calm concern over heightened chance of a major disaster. Calm concern. I love that phrase for some reason. So let's read through this article, learn about the南海Trough earthquake together, and why it might possibly be, as some people are speculating, a huge natural disaster that could literally shake up Japan's future. Japan is on alert for the heightened possibility of a huge earthquake that could cause immense loss of life and property across a wide stretch of the central and western parts of the country. For the first time, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a special bulletin and advisory saying that the odds of such a catastrophe occurring increased after a magnitude 7.1 quake struck off Miyazaki Prefecture on the southern island of Kyushu earlier in the day, generating several small tsunamis, which, as of me recording this video right now, happened, I believe, about a week, almost 2 weeks ago, and yeah, it was pretty goddamn big. And ever since that massive earthquake that happened in Miyazaki, albeit, you know, people in Tokyo like us weren't necessarily affected by that particular quake, there have been tons and tons of aftershocks. I mean, just a couple of days ago, my house, while I was chilling at home, got hit by around a magnitude 4 quake, and that was the first time in a long time where the earthquake alert actually went off on my phone to be like, yo, prepare yourself, there's going to be a big earthquake. Sure enough, about 2-3 seconds later, we just got hit with this boom type of earthquake, and I was genuinely worried. Like, I'm pretty used to earthquakes now, having lived here for quite a long time, but that one genuinely scared me. Luckily, everything was okay. Just, you know, a couple of things in my house fell over, but no major damages or anything like that. But it was definitely a big scare. And I think these aftershocks are definitely getting into people's psyches to be like, oh, okay, this is actually no laughing matter. This is actually no joke. Something big is potentially coming. Situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of volcanoes and fault lines encircling the Pacific Basin, Japan is one of the most earthquake-prone nations in the world. Experts have warned for decades that it's just a matter of time before a massive南海Trough earthquake occurs. So here are 5 things to know about it and what might come next. So first and foremost, the hell is the南海Trough? Well, a trough is a long hollow in the seabed like a trench. The南海Trough runs along the seafloor off Shizuoka Prefecture, southwest of Tokyo, to Miyazaki Prefecture on Kyushu, which is where the big 7.1 earthquake happened. It is the meeting point of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate, which are 2 of about 10 rock-hard tectonic plates that cover the Earth's surface. The government of Japan has given us a great little graphic to really just, you know, figure out where exactly this南海Trough earthquake is going to affect. And as you can see, it's like a massive part of Japan, a massive part of the mainland especially. So Miyazaki, where the 7.1 earthquake happened, is down by the south here. Beautiful city, by the way. If you ever have the time, please go check it out. But obviously, all of the west coast, pretty much up to Shizuoka, which is roughly where Mount Fuji is. Mount Fuji is just above here somewhere. And you can actually see the little dimple here. That's Mount Fuji right there. So pretty much most of the west coast of Japan, or sorry, the east coast of Japan, excuse me, and the southern coast is going to be affected by this earthquake. So they are expecting a giant earthquake to happen somewhere along this stretch. So as you can see, even though Tokyo is not necessarily within the danger zone of the tectonic plate, if, for example, a massive earthquake were to strike, say, up on the north here in Shizuoka, that shock will most definitely affect Tokyo as well. And I think the scariest thing is that if a giant quake happens up around the north here, right near where Mount Fuji is, then yeah, you can imagine what might happen to Mount Fuji. It is an active volcano after all. A major南海Trough earthquake could severely shake or flood an area that covers about a third of the nation and where about half the nation's population of more than 120 million people live. Any megaquake is expected to extensively damage areas where manufacturing industries such as cars, steel, petrochemicals, and electronics are concentrated. The industries form part of a global supply chain, so the impact of economic damage is likely to spread nationwide and overseas. Aichi Prefecture is home to headquarters, factories, and suppliers to Tokyo Motor. Aichi Prefecture being right here where Nagoya is. So what is the government saying? Well, the epicenter of Thursday's tremor, the Miyazaki earthquake, was located where the much-feared南海Trough earthquake is expected to occur. An expert panel under the Japan Meteorological Agency judged that the possibility of a large-scale earthquake has become multiple times higher than usual and issued a南海Trough earthquake extra information bulletin and accompanying advisory for the first time. The agency urged people to stay alert for a week, as there have been cases in the past in which large earthquakes occurred consecutively in the same area within 7 days. While under the advisory, there is no call to evacuate, residents in potentially affected areas should be ready to do so immediately if necessary. And yes, there have been many instances where a big quake has happened, which everybody thought was the main quake, only to then experience the aftershock, which happened to be a lot bigger than the major earthquake that we thought was the real thing. So that's why the Japanese government is really urging people, even now, after a couple of weeks has passed since the Miyazaki earthquake, to be on high alert, to be like, yo, listen, we made this mistake last time. We thought the worst was over. Only a week later, the even worse showed up at our front door. So just make sure that you got everything prepared. Make sure you know where your evacuation spots are. Make sure you have all the necessary emergency equipment ready to go, just in case something happens. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry. So people are urged to stay prepared by keeping emergency packs with certain provisions and goods close by, checking evacuation sites, and taking disaster prevention measures such as stabilizing furniture and stockpiling food, water, and other necessities. Authorities are also warning people to be careful about disinformation on social media, and that's why I decided with this particular video that I wanted to actually read along an article rather than compiling a bunch of different articles, and an article from a website that is very credible, mind you. Asia Nikkei is as credible as it gets when it comes to news about Japan. So that's why I am just reading off of this article, just in case, because the last thing I want to do with a topic like this is to give you guys misinformation. You know, apologies that this is just like me reading off an article or whatever, but I thought to convey the information, it was very, very important for me to be able to give you guys the real information. You know, none of this like disinformation that you see on social media. Although I haven't really seen personally a lot of like this disinformation on social media or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if it exists. Even in these kinds of very serious cases, there are some people out there who are just spreading lies, spreading bullshit, and yeah, it's really shitty that that is happening, but I guess that's just the nature of social media in this day and age. So people have been reacting in different ways. There has obviously been a lot of train delays and stuff like that, which happened last week as of, again, me recording this video, but even now, with the typhoon happening back to back in Japan, the train situation, especially in the Tokyo metropolitan areas, and I'm sure in the other major populated areas in Japan, have just been in an absolute shitstorm of delays and cancellations and stuff like that, which if you guys know anything about like the Japanese rail system, the JR system, or, even the subway systems, it's only in really serious situations where that kind of shit happens. So, obviously people are very scared, people are very wary about it. So, where can people go for English language information and updates on the situation? And I guess this is one thing that I really want to highlight. This in the seek bar there at the bottom, this should be the most replayed part, okay? Pay attention. If you are visiting Japan, or you plan to visit Japan in the next couple of months, or you currently live in Japan as an English-speaking resident, you should be paying attention to this, okay? Listen carefully. Japanese media options are numerous, but unfortunately there is not really a one-stop clearinghouse for information in English. Still, it can be found. The JMA website contains basic information about the南海Trough earthquake. It can be accessed on the agency's homepage by clicking the Services button at the top, where a link called Monitoring of Earthquakes, Tsunamis, and Volcanic Activity can be found. So I am currently on the JMA website right now, and as you can see, it says here, Services, and we get taken to this page right here, and as you can see right here, Monitoring of Earthquakes, Tsunamis, and Volcanic Activity. We click on there, and there you go. We have a bunch of information about anything and everything, including information about seismic intensity, earthquake early warning systems, tsunami warnings, and there you go. Here's an entire section on the南海Trough earthquake information. So if you want to read more into that, I will leave the link to this page in the description below, so make sure to check it out if you are curious and or worried about this南海Trough earthquake, because, I'd be lying if I am saying that I'm worried. I'm definitely worried. As someone who, whose family members were pretty badly affected by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, this is a topic that I don't want to fuck around in. I don't want to see anyone getting hurt with this kind of stuff. I don't want to see anyone, getting screwed because of the lack of information and stuff like that. This is important shit to know. Even if you're just visiting Japan, you never know when it's going to happen. It could happen when you visit. It could happen when you least expect it. So I think it doesn't hurt to know this information. So again, I will leave this down in the description below. In saying that though, as of with the recent news, it seems that Japan has actually lifted the advisory for the南海Trough megaquake. So after a week has passed with no major seismic activity in the trough, the government determined that the immediate need for heightened preparedness has subsided. The government said citizens should continue their daily preparedness efforts, such as securing furniture, stocking emergency supplies. It emphasizes that the possibility of a megaquake has not entirely disappeared. A南海Trough earthquake is expected to register a seismic intensity of 7 on the Japanese scale of 7 in areas from Shizuoka to Miyazaki. So it's pretty much going to be as big as it could possibly be, and who knows, it might even be bigger. We don't know. And it says here the government estimates in 2012 predicted that in the worst case scenario, 323,000 people would die or go missing in the南海Trough megaquake. So yeah, this is as serious as it fucking gets, all right? Like, there's no, like, bullshitting around. There's no, like, laughing, joking around in this video that I usually like to do in my videos. But in this case, no. Like, this is as serious as it fucking gets. And thankfully, for those people who want more information, my lovely girlfriend Aki has actually made multiple videos throughout the years talking about disasters in Japan, earthquakes in Japan. She has these 3 videos right here, for example, that I suggest everybody watch and learn, because she actually goes through protecting our apartment in the case of a disaster, how she packs for a disaster, actually experiencing the dangers of an earthquake. So if you are interested in any of that and want to learn more, hey, go check out my girlfriend's videos. These videos are fucking great. I love them. I'm very proud of her that she managed to make these videos and share this information, because it is very important. Look, overall, I'm really scared of the南海Trough earthquake. I'm really scared of just natural disasters in general. But obviously, I don't want to be one of those, like, doomsdayer people to be like, all right, everyone get into your bunkers and, prepare for the worst and stuff like that. Because, at least my way of thinking about it is, if you're constantly living in fear of natural disasters, something that cannot be predicted, something that cannot be controlled, something that we're basically at the mercy of Mother Nature for, it makes life miserable. So, when you do come to visit Japan, or if you're currently living in Japan, just make sure, like, to always, maybe don't be constantly thinking about the worst case scenario with this南海Trough earthquake, but just always keep it in the back of your head. I think that always helps, just in case the worst of the worst happens. You want to be prepared, both mentally and physically. So yeah, that was just a little public service announcement for that kind of stuff. Now that the summer is ending and the typhoon season is hopefully ending with this typhoon just passing by, it'll be a much nicer weather. It'll start to cool down a little bit from the excruciating.
チリ人として2011年の地震からの日本の対応は非常に良かったと言わざるを得ません。マグニチュード 9.1 という規模に対しては、私の国で前年に発生したマグニチュード 8.8 の地震よりも混乱や略奪が少なかったと思います。メガ地震は確かに日本にとって大きな打撃となるでしょう。どの国も免疫がないからです。しかし、この前例を考えると、日本の人々が対応できると信じています。
太平洋北西部に住んでいる者として、その恐怖はよくわかります。私たちは今後数十年以内にカスカディアメガスラスト地震というマグニチュード級の地震が発生する可能性があり、津波や揺れによる壊滅的な影響は想像を絶するものです。私たちの地域は日本ほど準備が整っておらず、2000年代初頭まで北西部は地震が起きないと誤解されていました。そのため、多くのインフラがメガ地震に耐えられるようには設計されていません。火の輪の上に住んでいる皆さん、安全に過ごし、予防策を講じてください。
地震は津波を引き起こす可能性があります。また、もしビーチで潮が突然引いた場合、非常に短時間で津波が来る可能性があります。その場合、できるだけINLANDできれば海抜の高い場所へ避難する必要があります。また、津波の最初の波の後には、さらに波が続くことがほとんどです。常に複数の波が来るわけではありませんが、念のためビーチに行くのは避けた方が良いです。安全に過ごし、適切な予防策を講じてください。
先週日本を訪れていて、旅行の数日後にメガ地震の警報が発令されました。金曜日にチームラボのプラネッツで花の部屋にいた時に地震警報が鳴り、大きな地震が来ると思いました。恐ろしい瞬間でした。何も起こらないことを願って、みんなが安全であることを願っています。
こんなことが起こらないことを願っています。日本だけでなく、世界中にとっても壊滅的な影響があるでしょう。
重要なお知らせ。揺れが発生している間は、階段を使わないでください。地面がまだ動いているため、階段を使って転落する事故が多くあります。非常口を使い、慎重に降りてください。走らないでください。余震が発生する可能性があります。とにかく、走らないでください。揺れについての関連情報ですが、地震の震度階級、または日本の震度階級は、よく目にするマグニチュード、番号とは異なります。マグニチュードは爆弾のキロトンに似ており、エネルギーの放出量を示していますが、震度階級は特定の場所での感じ方を示します。夜のテーブルの上のランプが落ちるか、立っていられるか、などです。震度6以上、5たす6たすのいずれも、渡っているのが非常に困難です。これは、震度階級が普通の人に危険を伝えるために作られていることを示しています。地震の深さ、距離、強さに関係なく。
このビデオを本当にありがとうございます。実際に1ヶ月以内に日本に引っ越して英語を教える予定で、南海トラフ地域に住むことになります。このビデオは私にとって非常に必要でした。ありがとう。日本に現在住んでいないので、より多くの情報を探すのが大変でしたので、情報を提供してくれてありがとう。
チリからお悔やみ申し上げます。地震がかなり頻繁に発生する国から来たので、日本で起こっていることは非常に壊滅的です。すべてがうまくいくことを願って、もしものために備えてください。何も悪いことが起こらないことを願っています。たくさんのハグと祝福を日本に送ります。
過去50年間、私たちの地域ではひどい竜巻はありませんでした。先月、EF3 の竜巻が家を通過しました。6時間の停電がありました。被害を受けた人々が安全で回復することを願っています。私はトラウマを抱えています。
近い将来、妻と共に日本に引っ越す予定の外国人として、このトピックに関するビデオを大変感謝しています。また、秋のシリーズもチェックします。安全に過ごしてください。
現在大阪に住んでいて、これに関する英語のリソースを見つけるのに本当に苦労していたので、このビデオは非常に感謝しています。
昔の東京マグニチュード 8.0 を見た人は他にいますか？ 2010年から日本には行っていませんが、 また行きたいです。どこに旅行しても、大きなバックパックと日常の必需品を入れられる持ち運び用のバックパックを持っていきます。毎朝、小さなバックパックに新しい服、日焼け止め、傘、歯ブラシ、予備のメガネ、新しいコンタクトレンズとクリーニング液、現金、100ドル分の現地通貨を詰めます。エリアや気候に応じて、耐久性のある手袋も持っていきます。すでに手袋を着用している場合は、もう1組の手袋も持っていきます。濡れて寒い手袋を着用するのはひどいです。外出先で宿泊施設に戻れない場合、自分の世話ができないのは本当に辛いです。地震を恐れるわけではありませんが、当時の日本語の先生から最も重要なものをパックしておくことを教えられました。ホテルの冷蔵庫にはペットボトルの新鮮な水とポカリスエットを常備してください。もし水道水の塩素入りが好きでない場合は、それが自分や他の人の命を救うかもしれません。2011年の地震と津波は2010年にも起こり得たので、わからないものです。
この種の情報は、すべての国際線の乗客に印刷して渡し、署名入りで客室乗務員に返却するべきです。人々が休暇中であることは分かっていますが、地震や大雨などによる土砂崩れに膝まで埋まってしまっても役に立ちません。TED トークを聞いてくれてありがとう。
こんにちは。ほぼ地質学者です。地震がマグニチュード6以上であれば噴火を引き起こすことは知っていましたが、すべてのマグニチュード6以上の地震が火山噴火を引き起こすわけではないことも知っています。それが地震のことです。噴火を引き起こすかどうかは、地震の深さ、位置、地質的要因によります。
日本での生活を考えている外国人として、非常に有益なビデオです。非常に詳細な説明をしていただき、ありがとうございます。私が考えている予備品に関する情報は本当に助かりました。あなたのような人が本当に必要です。日本がこれらの予測できない地震に耐えられることを願っています。
日本が何も問題ないことを願っています。日本が強くなり続けることを願っています。全員の無事を祈っています。
日本とすべての日本人に安全を祈っています。地震が発生するたびに恐怖がよみがえります。皆さんの安全を心から祈っています。
私はアメリカに住んでいて、日本でどのように地震が発生するかについて全くわからないので、このビデオを本当に感謝しています。どのような状況になるかわからないのですが、もし何かが起こったら、適切な準備をしておくことが重要です。たとえ本当に起こることがないとしても、備えておくことが最も重要です。ありがとう。